It's not a normal thing throughout history to have a country enshrine in its laws, no, we want everyone to be armed. Why would they do such a thing? Well, let's talk about who these people were. These people were British subjects. British subjects who watched their government turn from a decent government into a tyrannical government, send soldiers into their homes, tax them, provide them nothing. They watched their government turn corrupt and abuse them before their eyes. And so when they started a new country, they decided every single American citizen should be armed. And rest assured, the founders wrote all this stuff down. Thomas Jefferson, when he describes the well-regulated militia, they love to act today like there's no explanation for that. Well, you're not a militia. Jefferson, when asked, who is the militia? He said, the whole people, everyone. You are the militia. I am the militia. We have the Second Amendment because the men who put in the Second Amendment just had to take up arms against their own government and fight it off. And they wrote down their reasons for that Second Amendment in case we have to fight the government. That's not controversial. That's not radical. That's what the Founding Fathers said. No, your Second Amendment isn't about hunting deer. You know that already. You know your Second Amendment also isn't about protecting you from a home invasion or a robber. That's a nice side benefit. I mean, don't get me wrong. You should use one to protect yourself against them, but that's a bonus. Your Second Amendment exists specifically. It's in writing, so you can fight off the government. Should the government become despotic, they wanted you to be armed so you can remain free. And rest assured, you really need to understand this, and we have to be better about speaking plainly about this on the right. Because the right loves to dance around the actual why all the time. Why would they say this? Why would they say that? Oh, this doesn't seem right. We do this when it comes to Democrats and their attempt at gun grabbing all the time. We always do this. What do we bring up? Statistics. Well, all these anti-gun cities have high crime. There's a good guy with a gun who saved someone. We bring up stats and numbers. Why don't we simply discuss why they want us disarmed? Because I have news for you, especially if you're on the right. You're a politician or pundit on the right. Democrats, as stupid as they are, they can read. They know the statistics. You can tell them all the statistics till you're blue in the face. They know. They understand. They understand exactly what their gun laws have done. They know. They bring up anti-gun things because they want the freedom to hurt you. They've gotten all the culture. They took it all over. They took over virtually every part of our society, especially nationally. And there's so much they want to do to you. There are so many ways they want to force you to live. And if they can't force you to live those ways, like all communists, they want to hurt you or kill you. It drives them up the wall that they can't. In America, it drives them up the wall. They've had so much success at other places around the world because they didn't have Second Amendment. They didn't have the guns. The people weren't armed. So just pass some laws, force the people to do whatever you want. They look out at the sea of guns and ammunition in this country, and it eats at them because they can't hurt you the way they want to hurt you. Democrats want your guns because they want the freedom to hurt you. That's just a fact. Which brings me to something that has become very, very common as far as Democrat talking points goes. I promised you I'd bring you some highlights from Joe Biden's speech where he mumbled and stumbled the whole way through it. And I'm going to do that here in just a second. But keep in mind, this video clip I'm about to play you with Joe Biden threatening to airstrike us, this is not some one-off. This is not Joe Biden losing his train of thought in a speech and saying something that he shouldn't have said. You will see Democrat after Democrat after Democrat after Democrat echoing similar things. Eric Swalwell has threatened nuclear weapons against Americans. Joe Biden, he's going to save the nukes for later. He'll just send an F-15 to your house.
Like, quote, like most rights, the rights granted by the Second Amendment are not unlimited. They're not unlimited. Right now, you can't go out and buy an automatic weapon. You can't go out and buy a cannon. And for those brave right-wing Americans who say it's all about keeping America's independent and safe, if you want to fight against the country, you need an F-15. You need something a little more than a gun.
Who are you planning on airstriking, Mr. President? And before I get to him, maybe the most revealing part of that clip isn't even Joe Biden and his stupid, idiotic, tyrannical speech. Did you see how the crowd cheered when Joe Biden dropped that line about limiting your rights? Your rights aren't unlimited. Crowd full of communists. Yeah, limit those rights. Those are your fellow Americans. I want you to stop and think about that. But back to Joe Biden. They want to hurt you. And I want you to understand something clearly, because this is going to sound like hyperbole. It's going to sound like I'm just trying to do a bit for TV. Please hear me when I tell you the purge you're seeing in the United States military right now is directly related to this new Democrat talking point. Who are they kicking out of the military right now? Anyone who won't take the vaccine. Okay, those are virtually all right-wingers. That's the hard purge. The soft purge is endlessly pushing anti-white racism, endlessly pushing LGBTQ Air Force stuff. And so therefore the hard guys, anyone on the right who's in the military is getting out, he's being pushed out, and guys who are on the right who would join aren't joining. Now, what's that doing to your military? You don't think about it because you're not sitting there in the barracks every day. It's turning your military into something that has previously been full of patriots and definitely full of right-wingers. It's turning it into an entirely communist military. That is the direction we are heading, and heading quickly. And I bring this up to you because that brings me back to Joe Biden and the F-15. You can sit there and mock him. You can get mad at him. You can tell him all the ways he's wrong, tell him that's an evil thing to do, and all those things are very fair. But what you really better do is you better understand that when Joe Biden goes to an F-15 pilot 5-10 years from now and tells them to come drop napalm on your home with you and your family in it, that pilot will comply. Have you considered that? You have a political party that has weaponized the entire administrative state against you. They are now purging the United States military of anybody who might step in and stop and defend you. And now they're routinely threatening you with nuclear weapons, with F-15s. How do you think this ends? Where do you think we're going? We're going to a place where these people are going to order the military to hurt you. You know that, right? How do I know? Because that's what communists do.
Don't miss Jesse Kelly Breaks History, The Forgotten Genocide, the first episode of a new series available now exclusively for First TV supporters. Visit the First TV app or thefirsttv.com to subscribe and start watching today.